Josh, how are you? I'm Mary Beth McAndrews.
Hi, Mary Beth. How you doing?
I'm so good. It's so nice to meet you. I'm so excited to chat with you today about the Black Demon. And my first question for you is like, why this movie? What attracted you to being a part of this movie when you first read the script?
I love shark movies, frankly. I really
They're
do.
the best.
Everyone wants to make a shark movie. And obviously there's the greatest one ever in Jaws, and but the director was a friend of mine actually, and I just thought he was so cool. This guy, he had a crazy, interesting career as a first AD for some of the greatest filmmakers in the world, and he put together this group of filmmakers from, I mean, I was the only American. Everyone was from Mexico
Yeah.
and Colombia and Dominican Republic and Chile and Argentina, and like it was really a wild group of I was the only English speaking or primary non-Spanish speaking person. So,
Yeah.
and the idea of taking, a family and putting them inside of an oil rig, it was sort of a big, daunting, fun challenge. And I liked what this director wanted to try and do with it. The idea of using the true legend of where the story comes from of Baja, and the idea that these fishermen for 100 years claim to have seen this giant shark, which is true, that there's story after story about this. But then also add that kind of the corporate bad guy of an American corporate oil, and how, and in real life, how those companies, those big oil companies are going into these small little communities and wreaking havoc on them, and then add a god, and an angry god. And I just thought it was a wild, fun mix.
So it seems like you were having the best time, especially working with the kids and the actors who plays your wife. Like, was it as fun to shoot as it looked like you were having to shoot?
Well, it's probably weirdly even more fun because, look, we're trying to look like we're in peril and that we're miserable and terrified all the time, but there's no
Yeah.
giant shark, of course, and so you're just pretending all the time. So we were in the Dominican Republic on a tank, outside in the ocean, and it was a very special experience, and everyone was there kind of pouring their hearts into it and trying to make something cool. And those kids, they were, one of them had really never acted before, the young boy who Tommy plays, my boy. And he was, I don't know, he was just he was so fun. Like, I love this one moment with him where he found out he had a stunt double who was going to do some of the stuff for him of falling into the water, and he was so angry about that. He was like, absolutely not, there's nobody's doing my performance except me. And they were like, no, you don't understand, it's too dangerous. And he was like, nope. And he he forced himself to be there, and it was just yeah, it was an enjoyable family environment, weirdly enough, and something that was, trying to make it look scary, but the reality is we were having a ball.
That's amazing. Okay, you said you love shark movies. What are some of your favorites besides the legendary Jaws? Do you have a couple favorites that you really love to watch?
The what's it called, the Deep Blue, with Thomas Jane and Sam Jackson,
Yes.
like kind of one of those unsung ones. Tom Jane is an old friend of mine, and I remember going to the premiere of that, and there's this fantastic scene where Sam Jackson gets eaten, right?
Yes.
Right?
The
Like
best part.
it's like one of those great moments. And I just remember loving that one. Because of this movie, I tried to watch a lot of them and go back, and it's just so hard because Jaws is so seminal. But there's a really
Yeah.
cool one. The Shallows is very good.
Oh,
There's
The Shallows is underrated. I think
Yeah,
more people need to respect The Shallows.
The Shallows is very good, and there's a couple in Australia. I think one called Open Water that's also very good. It's a true story. Yeah, they're it's a hard genre, but fun to try and homage some of these great shark movies that have been out there. I mean, look, the people have been making shark or monster movies since the beginning of cinema, like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and like, so
Yeah.
that's really what it is.
Are you a monster movie person? Do you like horror movies and monster movies?
I was saying, I was thinking about this today. My parents would take me to the drive-in movie theater when I was like 3, 4 years old, because I would always fall asleep. They would make a bed for me in the back, and they would go see a double feature, and they would always go see, whatever the local kind of B movie, monster movie double feature was. That was their thing. They would do it like once, every Friday night. And I always fell asleep, so they didn't have to worry about me. But I guess when I was 4, somehow I woke up in the middle of one of these movies, and I was quietly, they didn't know that I was awake, but I was watching it. And to this day, like, I cannot figure out what movie it was, because the scene was a guy's running down he's jogging, and and as he's jogging, he runs by a big water fountain, like a big public water fountain, and the bad guys have put like gasoline in the water fountain, and they drive by in a white van, and they push him into the water fountain right at the point that they throw a lighter into the water fountain, so the whole thing explodes. And so I guess when I was a 4-year-old boy, I saw this, I watched this whole sequence, and I guess I started screaming, just like, "Ah!" And my parents said that they had no idea that I was awake. But I've had this, I mean, it's like, truly, it's like one of my first memories as a human being. And it's also like, it's made me, I think, one of the reasons I just love movies so much. I love going to movies.
All right, we're gonna find an answer for what this movie is. I
I
promise.
know, I
One day we
really
are gonna.
want to, because I've been searching for it as well. If you find it, please let me know, because I
I will.
genuinely cannot figure out what it was. I've searched for it.
Josh, thank you so much for speaking with me about the Black Demon. I really appreciate it.